Chi Flow Movement Therapy. It's AgeDEFY yoga, right? It's the closest class that mimics yoga, but it's not yoga. Why I celebrate that is because in yoga you have to follow certain rules. You have to follow the rules of the mat. And at AgeDEFY, I get to color outside the lines of our yoga mat, and I get to add, like, or elevate how we move in and out of our poses, if you will. Okay. So in part 2, we learned eagle, right? So eagle, the reason why eagle is still part of the AgeDEFY practice is because of its movement therapy benefits. So I'm working the wobble, I'm working with foot stability, big toe connection. I'm having my inner thighs, pelvic floor engaged. I'm stretching out the back of my pelvis. I'm engaging my core muscles, my pelvic floor. I'm working on posture. I have shoulder mobility, and then just overall core function. Okay, so I could stay like this forever, but this is not how I started. I can also stay like this forever because see how I'm wobbling? You may have heard me say it before, but I call it work the wobble. See if there's any way you can work with the wobble. Let the wobble train you, and then find your center. Anytime you wobble, instead of freaking out and falling out of it, I want you to try to work the wobble, because the wobble is part of the training. We have to learn how to, work the wobble. If you start to wobble, don't let it freak you out. Don't let it stop your progress. Instead, work the wobble. It's like micro movements that are happening from the foot all the way up the body. And those micro movements, they can't be done with traditional exercise, okay? So these micro movements of the wobble is truly one of my AgeDEFY secrets. It's the reason why I'm so strong and agile at 49 years old with two fake hips. It's because I have trained myself to be in the wobble, to allow myself to stay in the wobble, to not get knocked down, and to train the wobble by going with the wobble, work with it, with the wobble. So that's going to be something that I'm going to want you to definitely put in practice. But also, did you hear me say foot stability? Foot stability is one of the best things you can do for your body, especially as an injured and aging mover. The more foot stability you can create for yourself, the better off you will be at all ages of your life. So the only way to truly create foot stability is by, there's a couple ways, but one way is working the wobble, putting you putting you into I don't know how to say this, but like putting you in this environment that's not stable, it's not comfortable. You have to work the wobble. You have to learn how to work the balance, okay? So one thing that we do is by adding movement to what in yoga we used to call balancing poses, right? So this would be an eagle pose, would be a balance pose because I'm balancing on one foot. But I like to take it up a notch, elevate it, because the body has to be constantly challenged. So I like to do curtsy squats, back into eagle. Okay, that's when you can handle what I call chaos and be calm in the chaos and not let the wobble take you down. All of a sudden, it becomes movement as medicine, movement as therapy. But it's not easy to get there, okay? You have to train for it. And that's what we're doing together. We're training for it. So let me talk to you a little bit more about the curtsy, and then we'll go on for our workout. So we go into that seated Utkatasana. Remember, the butt is back, chest is forward. We'll lift the leg, squeeze. The leg that's on top, that arm goes under, eagle. And what I want to do is not just work curtsy pose or curtsy squat. I want to work the space between unraveling from eagle and going into curtsy. This knee stays facing forward. This heel is up. This knee faces the side wall. I keep my gaze to the screen because I don't want to curtsy all the way out of it. Just keep your gaze. Get a deep hip stretch right here. And then you come back around. Eagle. Curtsy. How do you work the wobble? One way to work the wobble is using your big toe on the ground, right underneath the nail bed. Keep your big toe pushing into the ground. That stabilizes the foot and the knee, and then you can just work the pelvic floor and the hips. And look, you don't have to do eagle arms. You don't have to do eagle arms, okay? Because the arms can come later. What we're working on is foot stability, knee stability, hip mobility, pelvic floor function, the ability to handle chaos, movement chaos, and be calm in that chaos. All right, I hope you enjoyed this coaching video. If you did, guess what? You're going to love the workout. It's not going to be easy, but it will be fun. See you over there.